New York's Christian Talk 570 WMCA. Kevin McCullough, always glad to have you with us. And we talk periodically about what is going on in the news, particularly as it relates to the war. And as we have covered General Petraeus over the last couple of weeks, I told you that some of our sources were on the ground in Iraq these days. We're speaking to one of those at this point in time on the Musclehead Revolution. Kevin McCullough, WMCA, glad you're with us. Matt Sanchez is his name. He's a blogger and activist, and we've spoken with him on several occasions in the past. Matt, you are in the Anbar province as we speak. First of all, what motivated you to want to go over there?
You know, I got the chance to come over here. I applied. I've done a lot of newspaper work, so I applied for a media embed, and they're difficult positions to get. And I was given the embed a couple of months ago, so I decided to come on over, and I've extended until December because it's been such an incredible job and experience as well.
Are you allowed to talk about who you're embedded with?
Oh, absolutely. I've been all over the place. I've been embedded with different units. Right now, currently, I'm embedded in Al-Assad, which is the wing of the Marine Corps. So all the airplanes, I'll be doing a whole series on air travel throughout Iraq and what helicopters and F-18s have to do with this whole, how they fit into the whole puzzle.
Yeah. You've been there for a while. I've followed along on your website some of the things that you've talked about and some of the experiences. One of the most touching things I remember seeing was your interaction with the angry young people of Iraq these days. Describe that for me.
Well, you know, one of the problems before I even got here was I was worried. It was my first time in Iraq, and I was worried how are the Iraqis themselves going to interact with the military? And I was afraid that, you know, they would be throwing stones at Americans all over the place, and you'd see protests against us. And it was the exact opposite. I can't tell you. It would be difficult to fake it, but we were in Sadr City. And we just got out in a random neighborhood, and we were in a convoy. So of course we're up armored. We have these weapons around us, a tank behind us, and just all this protection. And when you get out there, you know, everyone's armed. I'm not armed. I'm armed with a camera. And these kids just start jumping all over the place. They're just so happy to see us because Sadr City has gone through an enormous change over the past couple of months. And these kids they're asking me in English, you know, what my name is and what I'm doing and where I live. And they speak well. You know, they're learning English at school. They're trying to practice, and they love Americans in Sadr City.
Yeah, and Sadr City is named that because of the following that Muqtada al-Sadr, the Shia cleric, the radical that had been there, had held up for such a long time. I mean, his militia was based out of there, wasn't it?
It sure was, and just recently, just because of his own situation, which seems to be his political platform is crumbling, so he's made a public appeal for his militias to stand down for the next couple of months, and so they can reevaluate their situation. But the message Americans are getting, and what I've learned in my time here, it's been 5 months, is nothing like what I'm seeing on the ground.
Yeah.
That's something you'll hear time and time again from soldiers and Marines and airmen and everyone.
Yeah.
It's not what you think back home.
Well, it seems to be that there's been that dichotomy of what's going on there and what we're hearing for some time. But let me ask you more specifically. Last week was a big week here in the States. General Petraeus came back as promised, made his report to Congress, and in doing so endured the wrath of MoveOn.org, calling him General Betray Us. There have been a number of people like Hillary Clinton who called him a liar to his face on the floor of the Senate during the hearing, said basically to believe what he was saying required the suspension of belief. Matt Sanchez, reporting live from the Anbar province in Iraq and having been embedded there for 5 months, the general said that over the last 3 months specifically that the surge had busted up some 55 al-Qaeda cells, killed or captured close to 200 al-Qaeda senior leadership. What are you seeing on the ground, and how close to the truth do you think General Petraeus's report is, as opposed to what the senators and the legislators were saying it was?
Look, I've been throughout Anbar. I've been in Havania, Ramadi, I mean, just everywhere, to the Syrian border. I've crisscrossed Anbar. I've been throughout Iraq. I can tell you Anbar is one of the safest provinces I've been in. Ramadi, which was a city that was the capital of the Sunni Triangle, is very calm. I walked outside. I saw Petraeus, and I saw Adierno in Baghdad. It was a disgrace what I thought what the Congress said. And a friend of mine who's in the military and was fairly liberal said, these guys have no respect for the military, and that's what I saw as well with Lantos and some of that questioning. You're a liar before he even opens his mouth. That's pretty disgraceful.
Yeah. Well, and
that translates with the troops.
Well, and the evidence is what you're seeing day to day, because if Al-Qaeda is being kept in check, that means that the IEDs, the suicide bombings, those types of things that had been flaring up sections of the country are dying down. And what you're telling us live from Anbar Province, Iraq today is that the incidence of that random violence is, in fact, on the decrease.
Kevin, as that random violence goes down, what goes up are finding caches and informants and arrests. And to arrest someone here means that they have to have two people who inform on them. That's something that can only happen in a situation where people feel that they're not going to get whacked for speaking to Americans, and that was the case 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The people of Ramadi were terrorized. The murder intimidation campaign and coercion was really ugly. I mean, people were killed in ways that just shouldn't be described. Just really ugly. And if what the press isn't translating to the American public is that Al-Qaeda has lost the war for the hearts and minds of Iraqis. They have no moral imperative anymore. They have no. They've lost their cachet, and Iraqis. We've taken these people in Anbar, and now they've become very, very hostile towards terrorism because they've lived it firsthand.
Talk to me about briefly, Matt, because I don't want to keep you long, but talk to me briefly about what you think the political environment and process, how it's going to be affected by the resurgence of relative peace and calm in the harshest regions where the violence had been the darkest previously.
Well, anyone who says that you can't have a military situation, that's just a cliche and it's a bromide and it doesn't make any sense. You can't vote or you can't interact politically if you're afraid of getting killed. So the military are the people who are really protecting people. Now, what I see politically is the Shia, the divides. There are problems. I hear a lot of problems that the government is slow, it's bureaucratic, it's that there's infighting. But from the people, overwhelmingly, I've seen a lot of people are just tired of violence, which was the case in Ramadi. They're just tired of it. They want to go to school. They want normal lives. I mean, these people. Everyone has someone who's been killed in some horrific way. The children don't like it. Nobody's interested in it. So that bodes well.
So, bottom line, the weariness of the body politic, the population, is going to impact the eventual governing of the nation. And so we should take Petraeus at his word and say at least until March, maybe until next July, to do what you need to do to make sure that security and peace and contentment are given their fair chance.
Yes, absolutely. It's because of the presence of extra troops, and I've seen it in Baghdad. I've seen it here in Anbar. It's because of more troops on the ground that the military has been able to secure the terrorist situations, that all that stuff drops, the Iraqis come forward and can fight on their own, as well as training police officers and army and all that other good stuff. That's what's made the big difference. That is part of the military solution that will lead to a political solution.
All right, Matt, your website again, MattSanchez.com.
Matt-Sanchez.com.
Matt-Sanchez.com. And it is very important that you put the hyphen in there, because if you just go MattSanchez.com, you're going to get a blank page. And then read the columns at WorldNet Daily. And Matt, we're going to have you back before you leave in December, maybe 2 or 3 times, because we want to keep up to date on exactly what's going on the ground. Thanks for staying up late for us tonight, and get some rest, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, anytime, Kevin.
All right. Matt Sanchez live from Anbar Province in Iraq, the WMCA. I'm Kevin McCullough.
I can't foresee what I'll become until you make